Adani has not been debarred by any country. There has not been engagement in acts of corruption that we so far found it on due diligence.
Your Excellency, how can we sell our airports? What is it? How can we take 14 airstrips and give them to an Indian company? Nobody knows the agreement and what has been signed. We have 5,000 employees with the Kenya Airports Authority, and nobody knows where these people are going to go. It's not okay. Tell the president we have no issue with him. We only have a problem with his policies. Our country needs to be taken care of. We are not taking care of our country.
The group are investing in the transmission line. Their money, 95 billion. We would have otherwise gone to borrow that money, burden the people of Kenya. This is now a private sector investment. The same way Keshan here is a private sector investment. The same way Sosian is a private sector investment. We will pay for that transmission line using a wheeling charge that has been negotiated.
Hello guys, tumepata dawa ya Ruto, and today during the presidential address of President William Samoei Ruto, he has finally announced the cancellation of the KETRACO and the GKIA deal with the Adani Group.
Accordingly, I now direct, in furtherance of the principles enshrined in Article 10 of the Constitution on transparency and accountability, and based on new information provided by investigative agencies and partner nations, that the procuring agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for the JKIA expansion public-private partnership transaction.
Well, this I believe is due to the scandal that has found our fellow PPP dealer in a multi-billion fraud, where his nephew Sega and Vena Janet have been arrested in New York. The president was actually to address this concern. I remember the Gen Zs had prepared a lot of a strike during that addressing so that they can address him in parliament, but there was a lot of security which was beefed up around where the president was going to make this address. Now the members of parliament and the whole Senate woke up to clap for him about this decision was made. We have had CS Opiyo Ndani and his counterpart for finance, John Bandi, also giving their statements about this deal. But before we go on, let us try to understand when did this all start. Remember, the government was behind closed doors making deals with the Adani Group until one particular person, Nelson Amenya, exposed the government entry into a partnership with this particular guy called Adani, Gutam Adani. Well, this man was not known to Kenya. Well, at the top of this particular guy making it, he was almost the third richest person after beating Billy Gates back in 2022. But at the top of his game, Hindenburg Research released a conclusion report accusing the Adani Group of stock manipulation through three things. They say that the Adani Group was inflating stock values and profits and engaging in stock manipulation. Now, this enabled the Adani Group to be able to borrow more money. Well, this information actually affected the reputation of the Adani Group, and they lost almost over half of their net worth, having Adani Group owning $150 billion US. Now, after this release of this report, the Adani Group finally lost and were never seen from the top richest guy due to this statement that was released. Now, we want to ask ourselves, who was Adani? And what has he done? This a particular guy who has done a lot of investment in ports, airport, power plants, sugar, a lot of energy doing things in India. And actually, he is the one who is the main supplier of Indian energies. And this guy believed that for India to become a great country, remember he was a friend, having been born in the same area with the Indian Prime Minister Modi at that particular time. He said that he believed and he shared the same goals with the Indian government, whereby developing infrastructure, airports and ports, and mostly won these contracts. Now he wanted to do this to the Kenyan government until Nelson Amenya released this, and this guy became an internet sensation in Kenya, where the Gen Zs were out there to ensure that our airport does not go. The members of parliament, in particular, Senator Richard Onyoka, was the one who was at the forefront criticizing the government to try as much as possible to stop this deal from going through. Yes, other opposition leaders like Kalonzo Musyoka tried a lot to ensure that this man does not get this deal. And imagine, despite all this, government, William Samuel Ruto came out there to defend him. Raila Amolo Odinga came out there to defend him until kidogo asalimiwe, and they had to stop all this. So manze kidogo kadili kalikuwa kanaivana. They say that the then Prime Minister, who was the Minister for Transport, Murkomen, was in Dubai speaking with all these people. Alikuwa shongeana wao, and this deal was almost going through until William Samuel Ruto cooled the public unrest by trying to impeach his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. And people forgot, and all of a sudden, JKIA was almost gone. With even, imagine, later claims were there that the Adani group was using JKIA title deed to borrow money. And the questions were, if you are giving our airport to someone to develop it, why are we giving someone who doesn't have money to develop our airport? And it brought a lot of worries, but already the government was through with this deal. But Mungu ni nani, leo Adani asubuhi amepatikana na kesi moto. This guy Manze is going in for a very long time. Remember, in 2022, he was almost eating to become one of the richest guy in the world, until our Zungu wakatoka out of nowhere and tried to kill him suddenly. And as if it's not enough, this guy was kitu ambayo ilikuwa inamsaidia ni kwamba he did inflate stock values, did a lot of stock manipulation, accounting fraud, and engaging in stock manipulation too. And he did this to ensure that people invest where they see value. With this stock manipulation, he had more people investing in his companies. His shares were going up, and all of a sudden, someone Manze alichoma, and this guy used the stocks to borrow a lot of money. So this for him taking JKIA title deed to borrow money was not because he was poor, but rather that is the strategy that he uses to make more and more money. Because you can imagine someone developing India's with their population, developing India's infrastructure. This means this guy is a lot more than we think. And remember, even the Bloomberg billionaire ranked this person the second most richest, the third most richest back in 2022 with all these things. And he came out to say that he is going to follow the rule of law to ensure that they are removed from all those accusations. So after because of their good reputation with their creditors, because they were never defaulted on any credit, finally the Adani name was finally being cleansed. Then boom, 2024, this guy has a new allegation, and this has pushed the president himself to ditch the Adani deal. But why is he doing this? This guy, we tried to go mad just to tell him that he's truly wrong, but he was never ready to listen. What actually made him to do this? And now we realize that William Samoei Ruto is afraid of Trump, and he has said that because of the partners. And who are these partners? William Samoei Ruto receives a lot of debt from these big countries, including the United States of America, the USA. When he was asked, was he looking in the East or the West? And this guy was like, he never wanted to be in any side.
You'll forgive me if it just put it straightforward in good, blunt terms. If a choice is made between investment by China and investment by the United States and companies, which would you prefer?
Let me tell you, Quest. Many people want to pull us into a conversation as to whether we are facing east or we are facing west. Let me tell you, we are neither facing west nor facing east. We are facing forward, because that is where the opportunities are. And we are working in a manner to make sure that our assets, what Africa has, what Kenya has. We have, for example, in Kenya, 90% of our grid is green. It is the reason why we are working with Microsoft to put together the first ever 1 gigawatt data center. So we are looking at where our opportunities are, and we are working with those who can help us unlock those opportunities, make them into investments, create jobs, create wealth, and take Kenya to the next level as we take Africa in the same direction.
So for the Adani accusing this particular guy, he would rather lose that small PPP than losing a whole way of financing his business. And remember, Adani is an individual, and those countries are the big decision makers in the United States. And now this means that if William Samoei Ruto will not stop working with this guy, is going to lose a lot in the long run. So this is the reason why William Samoei Ruto does not has cancelled the Adani group, despite him insisting that and putting more praises on this guy, the Adani. So that's the news today. Let's meet next time. Thank you.